Hello, my name is Kiki Bandilla, and I am the founder of the National Self-Reliance Project. We are the producers of the Self-Reliance and Simple Life experience and the creators of Self-Reliance University, which is essentially the digital version of the Self-Reliance Expo, which we have had to postpone due to the challenges presented by COVID. So today what we are, I'm excited to bring to you is something that we've just recently launched called Voices of Self-Reliance. These are short lessons in self-reliance from leaders and influencers in the self-reliance industry. So today we have Bruce Oyler. He is an agency owner for State Farm here in Colorado, as well as in Utah, and has been an agency owner for 25 years. And prior to that, he was in leadership with State Farm for a total of 39 years in the insurance industry with State Farm. And as you can imagine, he has seen quite a lot in his years, and he's going to be sharing some wisdom with those of you who might have recently experienced some loss. As we know, every time we turn on the TV or look at the news, we hear about another flood, fire, hurricane, what have you. And as we know, as the pattern goes, the next thing that we're going to start hearing is the challenges that people are having when they're filing their insurance claims. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Bruce and ask him to share some of his wisdom with us and hopefully make that process much simpler for those of us who need to immediately apply some of these principles. So Bruce, thanks so much for being here. And the other thing I forgot to mention is Bruce is one of our sponsors. And so we are so appreciative of you being a huge support and look forward to hearing what you have to share. Thanks a lot. Bruce, it's all yours.
Hey, well, thank you, Kiki, and and thank you for what you're doing. I think it's so important, your role in this whole thing. So hopefully I can maybe shed a little light on some losses today. And in order to do that, I'm going to try to disturb you just a little. I'm going to tell you a story about an actual loss that happened to one of my good friends, who was also my neighbor and also one of my customers, and that he experienced a few years ago. On a Saturday in the fall, he and his family, his name is Kenny, they treated their beautiful log home with an oil compound to help preserve the wood for the wintertime. And when they finished, they threw their rags and their towels and their equipment out on the deck. And I'm sure some of you can see this coming already, but overnight, those rags started to smolder a little bit. By Sunday morning, they broke into flame and set his home on fire. Now Kenny lived just over the hill from me, and as I got up Sunday morning and went out to my deck, I saw this plume of smoke just over the hill. And thinking about Kenny, I jumped in my car and drove over around the hill. And as I got there, I saw his home in full flames. Flames were coming out of every door, every window. They were coming out of the eaves. It was just in total flame. And golly, it was quite disturbing for me. As I got closer, I could see Kenny and his family standing outside in a field in their pajamas, and they had basically lost everything. They didn't even get their cars out of the garage. And interestingly enough, the alloy wheels they had on their two cars had melted, run out of the garage, down the driveway, and these alloy metal puddles were at the end of his driveway. That's how hot those fires get. But so they basically lost everything. And as I think about what can happen to someone, this is kind of an extreme case, but it happens a lot. And what I would like to have you think about is, if this scenario were to happen to you tomorrow morning, how prepared would you be for that loss? So there's some things I want to maybe just mention here that will help you for those kinds of losses. And one of the things is, when was the last time that you talked to your insurance agent or talked to your insurance company about the value of your home? If you had refinished your basement and put a lot of money into your home, refinishing the basement, remodeling the kitchen, adding on a new room, have you told your insurance company about that? Many times we get people, when we do insurance checkups, they'll say, "Oh, Bruce, I forgot to tell you about this room we added on," or "I forgot to tell you we remodeled our basement." And so we want to make sure that we insure your home for the correct value. And lots of times people, we're the kind of the last person who gets told about these new and exciting add-ons or remodelings that gets done. And I guess my thought is, when was the last time that you updated the value on your home, or for your home, on your insurance policy? So that's one very important thing. Another thing, the next day, I'll go back to my story. The next day, which was Monday morning, I drove over to Kenny's house quite early in the morning and got there same time the insurance adjuster did. And of course, the place was still smoking. But as we talked about the home, the insurance adjuster basically handed Kenny just a blank notebook and said, "Kenny, I'd like you to write down everything that you lost in your home yesterday." And that struck me pretty hard. I thought, holy smokes, how would you be able to do that? To have to remember everything that was in your home. And that's okay for big things. Couches, beds, tables, things that are, that you think about. But, as you think about small things, how many pairs of socks do you have in your sock drawer? How many t-shirts do you have in your bathroom? Think of all the medications and brushes and pills, Band-Aids that you might have in your bathroom. Go to your kitchen and you have dishes, pots and pans, you have silverware, utensils, you have towels, dish rags, you have hot pads. To think of all the things that you might have in your kitchen. And then, think about your garage, for example. Do you know how many tools you have? Or do you know the kinds of tools you have? And that's something that we get into quite a bit, because a lot of people have tools in their garages. You might also have sports equipment, skis, golf clubs, fishing gear, other types of sports equipment. I had one gentleman that his garage was full of soccer equipment because he was a soccer coach, and he had his garage full of all kinds of soccer equipment. And talking about fishing gear, we had a gentleman have his tackle box stolen from his boat. We ended up replacing just his tackle box and all the gear that was inside of it for $10,000. You can imagine that. And so I think we kind of tend to underestimate what we have as far as personal property is concerned. Now, if you states have laws that will help, they say that, well, for example, in Colorado, we'll replace 25% of your personal property coverage without an inventory. So, let's say that you have $400,000 of personal property coverage on your policy. We'll give you $100,000 without you having to provide an inventory. But after that, you'll have to provide an inventory and also an approximate value for that inventory for an insurance company to replace that. So, having an inventory is very important. Um, you know, you can, probably the simplest way to take care of that is to take your iPhone or your Android phone, put it on video and walk through your home. Take pictures of all the different rooms. Make sure that you get things that are on the walls, the lighting fixtures on your ceilings, what's on the floor. I'd advise you or encourage you to open cabinets, open closets, open the drawers where things are, and take pictures of all of those. Go to the bathroom, go to your bathrooms, take pictures in the cabinets there. Go into your garage and take pictures of what's in your garage. If you have a shed outside that you are storing things in, make sure that you get out there and take pictures of what's in your garage, because that should that shed catch on fire, we'll replace those things too. So, the second really important thing is to have an inventory of your personal property. Statistics tell us that less than 10% of all homeowners have an inventory of their personal property in their home. So that's a big job for us to get our customers to do that. But I'll tell you, it really, really helps when we have claims. The last thing that maybe just mention is if you have special items, and those would be things like jewelry, if you have a gun collection, if you have art, special art, if you have antiques that might have antique value, or collectibles that have collectible value. These are all things that can add up pretty fast to in your inventory. And I would ask you, for some of these things, do you have appraisals on those? For high-end jewelry or high-end art, or even antiques, do you have a current appraisal on those things that would help you or help us replace those? If you don't have appraisals, you might have serial numbers. If you have serial numbers of things like your guns and things, that really helps us. Or last but not least is pictures. If you have detailed pictures, close-ups of serial numbers and antiques and art that may show us the series of the artwork or the details of the artwork, perhaps we can get those appraised. But I guess kind of to end this up, do you have your house in order so that, or do you have these things ready to go so that if something does happen to your home, are you going to be able to give these things to your insurance company so that they can get your personal property replaced in a timely manner, as well as a monetary manner? So, Kiki, with that, did I give you anything to think about there?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Bruce. And that is so true. I spoke with one gentleman who had a total loss from one of the fires in the past several years here in Colorado. And his house, he found out when it was, of course, too late and he was making his claims, that he was underinsured. So that's one of the things that I have to tell you, not all insurance agents are the same. I, of course, am especially partial to Bruce and his team, but mainly because I know their reputation, and it is stellar because they truly take a very personalized approach to each and every one of their clients to make sure that all the I's are dotted and T's are crossed, and they really just partner with you in protecting your property and help you find the best case scenario for what your particular needs and property values are. So Absolutely. It is one of those things. I think that's what the lessons in self-reliance are all about. They're just short little reminders that if you apply this today, it could save you a whole lot of heartache and, retain you if there is some sort of a devastating loss, which I hope it's not going to be. So thank you, Bruce. He is available if you have questions, regardless of whether you're in Colorado or Utah. He is just so knowledgeable and is a fantastic resource for anyone who might need to arm themselves with some extra information prior to dealing with their own insurance companies. And also, October, we're coming up on, is National Home Fire Prevention Month. In the last lessons of self-reliance and Voices of Self-Reliance that we talked about was with Troy Staples from the American Red Cross, and he gave us the statistic that home fires are up by 20 to 25% since COVID. So these things that Bruce is talking about are real, and they unfortunately happen to those of us who we say that would never happen to me. But that's what preparedness is all about. And it's very apropos that we would get to have Bruce with us at the end of September, which is National Emergency Preparedness Month. And now we're going to be going into National Home Fire Prevention Month. At our blog on Self-Reliance University, you can find the previous Voices of Self-Reliance, where we give you some really excellent links and information to some home fire prevention resources and audits that you can do in your home, just like you need to be doing sort of an audit of your personal property, following Bruce's advice. So thank you again, Bruce. Thank you all. I hope you enjoyed this Voices of Self-Reliance, and we'll see you the next time. Feel free to send us an email if you have any questions or if you want to connect with Bruce. Thanks.
Thank you.